Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this one, I'm going to be taking a look at Aulx Fallen Dynasty, the latest entry or the latest take of Koei Tecmo's take on the Souls-like formula and everything like that for the Xbox Series X and S, being played on the Series S though. The game's also available on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link down in the description down below, or you can click on the card that will appear up on this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Aulx Fallen Dynasty is rated M for mature audiences only, ages 17 up by the ESRB rating system. Anytime Koei Tecmo does a game based off the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, it's often usually one of those, another entry into the Dynasty Warrior series though. And to some degree, as much as I think some of the Warrior games can be fun, I do kind of feel like it's kind of beating a dead horse. Like they're constantly, it's always like retelling the same story over and over again, especially with each new entry though. Not that I don't hate the Warrior series, there are some good ones out there. Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors is a good example, but I can see where it can kind of get a bit tiresome for some folks every now and then and so forth. So it was kind of interesting to see that they were going to do one, but another entry in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but this time in more like from the folks who did, the Neo series. This time under the name Aulx Fallen Dynasty, as I mentioned, basically taking it more into a Souls-like approach. And whilst after spending some time with that game though, I will say that I do enjoy it though, and I do think there are some areas I feel like it does make some improvement from what Neo did, though, even though I still enjoy Neo more, mostly because of that Onimusha vibe that game has always produced and all. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros though, and that has to do with the gameplay. And the gameplay is definitely spot on and everything like that. Basically, you have, it still follows closely to the Neo formula. You have, in this case, two different types of weapons, like you can choose like a light or a heavy weapon and all, and you definitely can attack enemies and everything like that. You could also bring other people in to help you out and everything like that. There are some new features, such as some ability to stealth and go basically attack your enemy from behind, to sort of jumping, where you can jump in the air and attack your enemy from above and everything like that. And of course the parrying system, which if timed right, you can block certain attacks from enemies, which can give you, or attacks from enemies in general, which can give you an opening to be able to take the enemy down and everything like that. So gameplay is still enjoyable, especially for those who like the Neo series and all, and there are some new features too, the gameplay mechanics and everything like that. So definitely enjoy the gameplay though. The next thing to point out is the game doesn't have basically a stamina meter, or let's just say the stamina meter you would often see in any of From Software's Souls-like game to Koei Tecmo's Neo 1 and 2 and everything like that. So you don't have to worry about watching your stamina meter, and basically if you want to attack the enemy multiple times or anything like that. That's not to say that you should just go full in button mashing and everything like that. You do have to be careful that every time you do attack the enemies, there will be a certain pause in it though, which if you're not careful, your enemies can basically take advantage of that and really attack you very hard, let's just say, and really put you in a bad spot. So yes, I'm glad that there is no stamina meter, but don't go into this expecting basically to be like a button mashing, like a full-on button mashing type of a game. And last but not least though, and I'm kind of glad that Koei Tecmo's finally done this, and that is a Romance of the Three Kingdoms that isn't another Warriors game or anything like that. I like the fact that they took this story and finally took it into more of a Souls-like approach, to be exact. I just feel like this approach is definitely better than trying to do another warrior type game based off the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So it's nice to finally see Koei Tecmo actually do that in Team Ninja with, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. We have it in a Souls-like approach, and I do think that approach does work for this type of story and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the con. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my video review of Wulong Fallen Dynasty for the Xbox Series X and S. This is being played off the Series S though. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And this one has to do with the graphics for the Wulong Fallen Dynasty, particularly on the Series S though. So there's both good news and bad news to this though. The good news is that the Series S does have basically graphical options though. So you could basically play this game in both performance or graphics, where the resolution goes up and basically you have it at 30 frames per second, while the resolution will go down but have it running at 60 frames per second. I don't have a problem with this feature being added into it. The problem, unfortunately, is that it does seem to indicate, and I've read about this and I kind of looked at it myself though, is that regardless of whether you pick, regardless of what graphical option you pick, whether it's performance / frame rates or, visuals, the game is still going to remain at 900p on your Xbox Series S though, which again isn't completely bad, but a little bit unfortunate though. I mean, if we look at like Neo 1 and 2, when that was released on the PS4, the game gave you the option to play it at 1080p 30 frames per second or 720p at 60 frames per second. And so it's a little bit unfortunate they didn't even try to do that with like the Xbox Series S version. Also, visually speaking, especially when you look really close or go up close, like maybe to like the rock formation or walls, you could tell the visuals kind of take a bit of a hit. They're not exactly great or anything like that. I mean, great that the game runs at 60 frames per second. Great that they have a graphical option compared to the last gen though. But at the same time, considering the game is running at 900p, at least on the Series S, you can't help but wonder, would it have been better for them to just have the game locked at 60 frames per second at 900p or anything like that? Because it just seems sort of odd to have a graphical option when considering no matter which option you choose, the game's going to be at 900p on the Xbox Series S. So it's sort of an odd choice to a certain degree, at least for the Series S version though. The next thing I do want to talk about is the stealth in the game. And while the stealth in Wulong Fallen Dynasty does work, it's not perfect at the very least though. A lot of it has to do that you have to be like tilting like your control stick on your Xbox controller like very, very gently to go behind the enemy, to be exact, and then hit, I think it's the Y button to be able to stab your enemy in the back though. It's not always perfect, and sometimes you'll see a meter that will go up, and the more noise you make, the more they will detect you and kind of ruin any kind of stealth approach that you wanted to do or anything like that towards the enemy. So I mean, when compared to say like a stealth approach maybe like in some of the Assassin's Creed game or Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, I just think that they does a better job than how it does in Wulong Fallen Dynasty. On the other hand, you do have the option to attack your enemy from above by jumping and then hitting the Y button and go down and hit them like really do like almost an instant kill, although that will depend on the type of enemy to be exact. So yes, stealth does work in Wulong Fallen Dynasty, but I would say, at least from my perspective, it isn't perfect, however. And last but not least is the parrying system in here though. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% perfect when it comes to parrying though. Some are and some aren't though. And the thing is that the game definitely focuses a lot on parrying in terms of the enemies you take on. When you time it right, you can do some damage to the enemies and kind of slow them down a little bit, giving you an opening to do a lot of damage to that enemy though. However, It can be a little tricky though, and although there are different ways to parrying though, I've heard some ways like a block parry and all, there is it is very tricky. Henceforth, there is sort of a learning curve in this game, and that might turn some folks away. Some folks will have the patience and be able to pull it off. Others may have issues with it though. So parrying Wulong can be tricky. It's not easy to do, at least based on my time with it though, and there is somewhat of a learning curve. Like I said, some might be able to handle it, others may not. Overall, I would say Wulong Fallen Dynasty is a good game though, and it is in a way the closest thing to Neo 3 that we'll ever get, or for Xbox owners, the closest thing to the Neo series coming to their system now. At its best though, the gameplay is spot on and enjoyable, and some new features in terms of its ranging from a stealth approach to jumping or attacking from above though. The fact that the game doesn't have a stamina meter, or not in the same way as Neo does, definitely is nice, and you don't have to worry too much about if when you're swinging your weapon that you're using up your stamina meter though. And it's actually good to finally have a Romance of a Three Kingdom game that isn't a warrior games at all. At its worst, however, is for the Series S, though, regardless of which graphical option you choose, though, the game resolution still remains at 900p. While I appreciate the fact that they offer you a graphical option, since its base is going to remain at 900p no matter which one you choose, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to have that graphical option. Also, the visuals on the Series S, though, while, I mean, if you really look at the details, yeah, you could tell it isn't not going to look as good as what you see on the Series X or PS5 or PC for that matter, though. The stealth, like I said, it works, but it's not perfect in any way. There are games that do a better job with the stealth approach. And parrying in this game, like I said, is going to be a bit tricky here. Henceforth, there is sort of a learning curve and all, and that might turn some folks away, though. However, having said that though, if you like the Neo series, it is worth taking a look at Wulong Fallen Dynasty. I think it is a good game, and it is the closest thing to a Neo 3 we're going to get. As for whether or not it's worth picking up, for those who have Game Pass and everything like that, it's worth, at least as a recording of this video, it is worth taking a look to see if it's something worth your time and effort, or if you're looking for a different type of a Souls-like game, if you're not a fan of, From Software, or if you're tired of playing the From Software Solow approach, then consider giving Wulong Fallen Dynasty a try. I would say for Xbox owners, and as I said earlier, this is probably the closest you're going to get to having Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja's Neo 1 and 2 games on your system, considering those games are, at least, on the console side, that is, exclusive to the PS4 and PS5, though. Okay, this concludes my video review of Wulong Fallen Dynasty for the Xbox Series X and S, being played on Series S. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Wulong Fallen Dynasty? Have you tried the game out yet? Do you believe it's Neo 3? Do you think this is do you believe that it's the closest thing for the Neo series to come to the Xbox Series X and S? Do you think the gameplay is an improvement over the first Neo 1 and 2, or do you feel like Neo 1 and 2 are better games in any way, though? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!